and welcome to Grid Gossip. We are your hosts. My name is Natalie.
I'm Sasha.
I'm Renaya.
I'm Haley.
Grid Gossip is a podcast run by women, made for women. It's hosted by 3 high school girls, and this podcast unravels the latest races, delivers bold race predictions, and serves up hot takes about drivers and constructors.
We aim to support women in sports and racing by livening up your need for speed through the female lenses.
Whether you're a knowledge fan or a newcomer looking to deepen your experience, we want to help you dive into the dramatic world of Formula One, so get ready for some juicy paddock drama and lots of driver updates.
So buckle up and enjoy the show.
Okay, so first question. What is Formula One and how does it work?
Formula One is a motorsports race usually has 20 drivers in the lineup with, how many teams are there this year?
12.
Yeah, 12 teams, and it is a racing, it's a racing sport.
High speed.
Need for
Very
speed.
fast.
It's speed.
The need for
Their
speed.
their speed range ranges from 150 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's scary.
But they use kilometers per hour, of course, because they're fancy in America, so we use miles per hour.
Because we're weird.
Because we're
To
different.
start off,
Yes.
how about we start by discussing the first Grand Prix of the season, the Australian Grand Prix.
Yes, the starting grid. McLaren on top.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Anybody here? But
Woo!
of course the Ferrari
Natalie?
and Red
I
Bull.
never recall who was who on the list.
Anyway,
I still didn't download the app.
but
forgot.
Ferrari and Red Bull slacking for the first race.
They were.
They were slacking big time.
Yeah, my thing was, I was so excited for Ferrari because I think they were kind of getting in my brain with their aura farming, with the amount of pictures that they were posting and stuff,
Lewis Hamilton and
making
his
me
iconic
excited. And
all-new
then
trench
Australia comes around and leaving Mercedes.
I was ready.
He was so ready to get into that Ferrari.
Is
Yeah.
McLaren a car or a person?
It is a constructor.
yeah.
So, in Formula One, there are drivers and there are constructors. Constructors are like the teams.
Yeah.
So, say like football, you have the Tennessee Vols and you have the Georgia Bulldogs, which suck. But in Formula One racing, you have McLaren and Ferrari and Red Bull, and they're all car brands.
Okay.
Except Red
because I
Bull.
searched up McLaren
Except
because
for
y'all
Red
said
Bull.
something, and I was like, this is not a person.
Yeah, McLaren is kind of like, so most of these teams, they're usually like bought by companies that wants to make a racing brand, and then they put it in the grid, and yeah. And they're all sponsored by the team name. So like Mercedes is sponsored by Mercedes, Ferrari is sponsored by Ferrari.
Right.
Okay, that
So,
makes
yeah.
sense.
And that also plays into why they have 2 drivers per team, because you can have more chances to win and get more points and all that stuff. But when we are racing, there's different rules and regulations that are put out by the FIA. And don't ask me what that stands for, because I don't know.
I think a lot of people know, honestly.
No, they don't, because everybody hates the FIA.
I think it's like the Formula Instructors something.
Association, maybe?
Maybe.
Probably.
But I don't really know what it fully means.
Me neither.
But there are a certain number of laps for each track. Each track is a different shape and in a different country. So they get to travel all over the world and race in different places. And the higher you rank as a driver, the more points you get.
The more points you get, the more expensive your super license is.
Right.
Max Verstappen, for example, I'm pretty sure his super license is now like over 500,000 euros.
Wow.
Because he scored over 600 points almost every single season.
That's nice.
Not this one.
Nope.
But
Coming in at a whopping 36.
shall we start talking about the race predictions that we had from the Australian Grand Prix, since we did not get to cover that?
I'm going to be honest, I thought Red Bull was going to come back like they did last season, which I'm thankful they didn't, honestly. No offense, Haley. I love you.
I'm taking full offense. Just saying.
But
full offense over here.
I genuinely thought I thought Max was going to win. I even put him in my fantasy, and then I changed it.
Yeah, no, I knew better than to put Max in my fantasy. Fantasy, by the way, is
I get it. Like, they have fantasy football.
Right,
so
right,
Yeah,
right,
same
right.
thing. Yeah, same
sports,
thing.
all
Yeah,
that,
you get
so,
it. You
yeah.
get it. Me personally, as a McLaren fan, my predictions starting off the season was that there was going to be a little bit of beef between McLaren and Ferrari because we saw last year Ferrari was just a little bit ahead of McLaren.
Yep, and then Lando got pole in Vegas.
Right, and then we switched it up a little bit.
Yep.
Thank you, my Sir Lando. But Horner's response to McLaren's starting car arrangement was very off-brand for Horner, as we know he has
He's usually
quite a mouth.
He's usually very opinionated.
Yes, but this time his exact words were, "The McLaren is a very balanced car, and when you have a car which is so well balanced, the whole world looks different. It's in a very sweet spot," which was the nicest thing I had ever heard Horner say.
Especially from a headline.
Right. Because it was straight to headline, and he knew it too. He's talked about how he's ready for headlines.
Even, well, this is going to come up later, but even with the Yuki Tsunoda Liam Lawson thing, he even said in general that how I won't tell you what you want to know because it'll
he
be
knew.
your biggest headline on
Right.
Formula One. So yeah, he knows he has good PR training, honestly. Shout out to the Red Bull PR team.
What other teams do we want to get into, like, other than just McLaren, Red Bull, and Ferrari?
What about Mercedes?
They
Them-
could be really stepping up this year.
They lost a
Do
big
you guys
portion,
think-
I think.
Do you guys think
Just a little
do you guys
bit,
think
but you know,
Lewis Hamilton is like sitting there being like, why'd I pick Ferrari? I should have stayed there. They were improving.
I know, but I think he's got a way better car this year. But like, that's his like.
Yeah, I think Mercedes upped their car this year.
They definitely did. And I think they knew with the loss of Lewis that they were going to have some backlash coming at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they were definitely going to have to step it up. And, yeah, so should be a good season.
I mean, Lewis came in 10th in Australia.
He did.
He
yes.
was originally in 9th, then Oscar sadly dropped from that one turn.
Poor
The
guy.
gravel, it's always the gravel.
Always
And
the
it's
gravel.
always the gravel.
Oscar took over Lewis, which I think that was pretty cool. But I kind of felt so bad for Lewis because I started out as a Lewis fan
Of course.
Yeah.
before I became a Yuki Tsunoda fan. So yeah,
Well, we can also talk about, if we're going to talk about race results, how Lando turned his pole position in the starting grid into a big win over
Yep.
Max.
his first win in the 2025 season.
Amen, baby.
Ooh, first win.
It was a
Yeah.
really great win.
It's
for him.
crazy how last year, at the beginning of the season, people were like, "Oh, Lando no win, like Lando no win, Norris like," and then Miami
And then he
came
won.
around. He won his first race. Honestly,
And
Miami
he-
was an amazing race.
It was. And he really got a lot of points for that,
Yep.
as I think we discussed a second ago. But we can also talk about how it was a very rainy race.
It was a very.
It
wet
was.
race out there.
It
With-
was the water.
It was the water.
In case you guys do not know, it was really rainy in Australia. And Charles Leclerc's radio was probably the funniest radio I've ever heard in my entire life. It was, "There's water in the car," or "There's water in my seat." I don't
It's
remember
because of the
which
water.
one. And then his mechanic or race engineer came on his radio and said, "There's water." He said, "There's water in the car." And
I think it's the water.
yeah,
I think it's the water.
It's the water.
I think
It's the water.
It's always the water.
We've been
It's
quoting
been in
that.
water.
It's been the
for
water.
a while.
Yeah.
That dang water.
Yeah.
Speaking of calms, Verstappen talking literally through the entire lap, trying to like figure out if he should pit for out of hards or softs, and then he deciding to pit, and then
That
Norris
was
coming
honestly-
right over him.
That was
Yeah.
the saddest thing ever because honestly, it's crazy how none of these engineers or team principals were prepared. It was like if they got there the morning of the race and was like, "Oh crap, I have
It's
to
gonna
do
rain.
this. I have to do this.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
gonna
to do
rain.
this.
We have to
Like,
prepare.
what kind of tires do I use? Because I felt like they had no idea what they were doing that day.
They
feel
definitely
like-
didn't.
Especially with the rain going off and on, like the track drying and then getting wet immediately after.
What pissed me off was them deciding to pit during Ferrari's podium.
So, how do the drivers earn points, and how does the championship work?
So the drivers, as we said a second ago, they earn points by their
Rank.
rank in,
Or their race finish. So
right, or like
if,
where they
position
finish in
in
the
if
race.
you're in the top 10. So if you're in first, you get 25 points. If you're in second, you get 18. Third is 15 points. Fourth is 12. Fifth is 10.
So it
Six,
just keeps going
8,
down.
Yeah.
6, 4, 2, 1.
Okay.
So yeah.
That makes sense. And so you said something about a super license earlier. That
Yep.
sounded really cool. I think I want one of those.
Yeah,
How does
good
that
luck.
work?
So basically, there's a thing in motorsports where you cannot use your regular license.
Like a regular driver's
Yeah,
license.
and there are
Okay.
actually, we were talking about this one day, there's actually drivers that got their super license
Before
they
their
even
driver's
drove
license.
on an actual road.
Wow.
Yeah. Kimmy Antonelli, shout out. We love you.
And I think that's kind of cool.
That's
but
really neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a super license is basically the license that you need to drive a fast-going car, basically. So,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
a car that's going over 200 miles per hour, I would think you would need
Super
another license
Yeah.
Yeah.
than your actual license.
Pretty
So,
neat, pretty
but yeah.
So that definitely sums up all we have to say for the Australian Grand Prix. So now let's head into the Chinese Grand Prix. And we're going to start off strong with Fernando Alonso avoiding his death, as he says, in his early recognition of his brake failures.
Can you just retire now?
Retire. You're old.
He's super old.
You're old, but you're a rookie.
Okay, I will say the same thing that I told you. Fernando Alonso was 12 or 13 when Lewis Hamilton was born.
And I thought Lewis was old.
Let
But
that
here we
sink in
are.
for a moment, y'all. He was 12 or 13 when Lewis Hamilton was born. Lewis
Right.
Hamilton is 50 or 40.
40 something.
He just turned 40. Yeah. And Fernando Alonso is 53.
He's in his 50s, which he should
You're
retire.
you're a middle-aged man. Please go home.
Yeah.
Please go retire.
Maybe he has a passion for it, yo.
A passion
but-
for placing last.
Hey.
Yeah. He's not even
He
placing
may
good.
not be winning, but he's having a good time. He's enjoying himself.
How many points does he have? Do we
Um,
know?
Fernando Alonso.
Not that many.
Do you care to look, Sasha?
Zero.
'Cause
Probably
He,
I don't know.
He is actually the only person with an NC next to his.
See, right there.
if y'all can't tell, I'm clapping because
He
that
is
is
20th
an
in the
accomplishment.
Drivers' Championship right now.
0 points.
Big fat 0. Holding
Yep.
up right now.
And we are on the start of Grand Prix 3. 0 points.
He needs to get on the board.
Drive faster.
He should get on the board, or he needs to retire.
But also
Stop
his
having brake
mechanic.
failures. Yes, his mechanic.
His mechanic claiming that nothing's wrong with his brakes, but ultimately there was.
And honestly,
the results didn't say that. He literally DNF.
Yeah.
I want to believe Alonso, but buddy, you're just a bad driver. Stop.
Maybe
stop
it's
excusing.
because from his old eyes, like he
His
thinks
old eyes.
he like looking down, he's like brake failure, but no.
No.
That's
No.
dangerous, actually.
It
Yeah.
could be very dangerous at the speeds. That
Was
they
it
go
like
out.
accidental, or was it like...
we don't even really know that it happened.
I didn't
That's
watch-
just what he says.
I didn't watch the Chinese Grand Prix because it was really late. So
It was 3
At
in
least
the
our
morning.
time.
It was
Yeah.
3 in the morning in America, in Tennessee.
On a weekday?
sadly,
On a weekday.
it was Saturday night, Sunday morning, basically.
Oh, yeah. See,
Yeah.
But
we gotta sleep in
but
for Sunday
I think
mornings.
Natalie had a good time with that because her McLaren guys got 1-2.
Woo!
But
It was their 40th one too, guys.
like we said, Formula One, their news is always being known for their headlines, and the headline for that race was Piastri beat Norris and Russell to victory in Chinese Grand Prix with his statement performance.
What do they mean by a statement performance? Is what I would like
My
to
thing
know.
was they were headlining that Oscar did good, but I felt like they were trying to portray it as Oscar outperformed both his teammate and George. So
I agree, because he kind of lived in Lando's shadow
yeah,
last year, but I have seen an interview where Horner, now this is not a direct quote, but this is how I think it was said to the most accuracy. He says, the reporter asked him, if you were to take one person for the second seat, who would you pick? And he immediately, no hesitation, said Oscar Piastri.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
I did.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think McLaren is trying to. Obviously, every team has their main driver and their secondary driver, which it makes sense for Lando and Oscar, for Lando to be the head driver or the main driver. Like when Lando was joined McLaren, it was Daniel Ricciardo who was the main driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz.
I knew what you meant. So if we're talking about Oscar's statement performance in an analytical state, what would you say, Haley?
I don't know really.
That
It's
For me, it was that he had a good performance, basically.
yeah.
He definitely controlled the race from the start to the
yeah.
finish.
For the start to the finish, and with, what was that? 0 mistakes?
Zero.
0? Big fat 0 mistakes? Which is great, because most drivers do have that during races. It's
Yep.
important.
Question.
Yes.
Okay, so I first
Time.
want to start off by saying, when you guys talk about this, it kind of reminds me of the Snell movie, Turbo, where like all the Snells race each other.
yeah.
You guys remember?
I love
Okay,
that movie.
I love that movie. I can't tell you how many
That
times I watched it
explains a
growing up.
lot.
So, it just like listening to you guys talk about it, I don't know really what's going on, but it just reminds me of that movie. And then I wanted to ask you guys, these are my 2 questions. I know Natalie is a McLaren person. Okay, what are you guys? Like, what's
Haley?
your designer person?
A Red Bull, which they like to pick on me about Red
Is it
Bull.
because you like Red Bulls, or is it?
No,
No.
not because I just drink it. I just like the team.
Okay.
Like,
Okay, for Haley, I'm kind of with Haley on this one, is because right now my favorite driver is on Red Bull. Yuki
yes, it
Tsunoda.
is. Come to the dark side. Come over here.
William Lawson can leave. Yuki Tsunoda can come in.
I'm definitely split between Williams, Mercedes, and McLaren, but I'm definitely gonna stick with
yeah,
McLaren.
So, like, all the teams.
I'm more like
Listen, that is 3 out of 12 teams.
Yeah,
I'm
for me,
just- I'm just
we just
saying.
did
for me, it would
probability
be
and geometry,
basically the
and I
same,
bombed
like,
that test.
For me, it would
Literally.
be Ferrari,
68.
Red Bull, and Williams, because I like both drivers on Ferrari. I like Charles and Lewis. Yuki, I like Max.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
Carlos.
I don't know what his name is, but he's so adorable. I just looked him up on the F1 thing. He has like curly hair.
Lando Norris.
Norris?
Or
Cute
Kimmy.
little-
Yeah,
Cute
Lando
little
Yeah,
Norris.
that's my man.
Yeah.
That's my man. We love you, Lando.
And then my next questions are: what are the difference between the constructors championship and the drivers championship?
Sasha, you want to take this one?
The constructor championship is like the entire team. So both drivers' points, the amount of points both drivers score will add up to the team points.
Okay.
And then the constructors championship, no, that is the constructors championship. The drivers championship is the one driver, only one driver can win this, and it's the driver with the most points.
Nice.
And I think you have to
um,
get above like 500.
Girl, I just watched the races.
teams
I'm
are
kidding. I
two.
know a lot of things, just not that.
Teams are 2, right? Okay.
Teams, yeah.
And why are some teams faster than others?
Well, mostly it depends on their sponsorships or funding. Well, not mostly depends, but some part of it is the sponsorships and funding to make changes to their cars. So, like, some cars can have more sponsors and more popularity and more wins, so they have more money to build onto their car and make it faster and stronger and better and all, like, the top gear. And some, like, we have Ferrari, so all of their car parts are branded
Funded.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
Branded by Ferrari, by
Yeah.
Ferrari sponsors.
And
Yeah.
then also drivers bring in their own sponsorships.
They do, because people support, like, when a driver gets
Very popular.
very popular very quickly, and then they switch teams to like go onto a better team.
Mm-hmm.
Their personal sponsors go with
Yeah.
them.
Oh,
So
really?
it adds
So,
on
like,
to the team
If
funding.
you take Lewis Hamilton, for example, because he's probably the most popular,
Probably.
he has a lot of sponsorships and stuff by very high brands. So it comes to that. And then when he left Mercedes, it transferred over to Ferrari.
So team switch. You said that their sponsor goes with them, but what if the team that they switch to, like, they're in a different like sponsorship with someone else?
They're all individual sponsors, and there's multiple sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a team. You said 2 people on a team, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They both have the same sponsor, or they can have different.
They can have
sponsors?
They can
different,
have different
Okay.
individual
It's
ones.
each
So it's like
individual
team,
driver.
Okay.
there's team sponsors and then individual sponsors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think that pretty much sums up and head into our favorite
knowledge
segment,
for the
hot
Chinese
takes and
Grand
fun
Prix.
facts.
Yep.
So now
Our
we're gonna head fact
Come on,
of the
Natalie.
day.
Come on, Natalie.
I love this fun fact because I completely agree with it. George Russell. You and I both, buddy. George Russell likes to eat his kiwis with the skin on. He eats it like an apple.
Shaking my head.
Shaking my head too, Renaya.
SMH.
Honestly, I would try it, but
Yeah, like, y'all just gotta
It's
try
just
it.
Sasha over
feeling.
here will die if she
The,
eats kiwis.
the
so.
fur is not a bad feeling because there's some textures.
It's not.
All of y'all
It's-
know me. I talk about, like, if something is touching me, I will tell you, that's touching me, get it away from me. But kiwis, the skin is better than the fruit itself. Like, I would just eat
That's
the
a
skin
hot
and
take.
give you
That's
the
solid.
fruit.
That's something crazy.
I could never do that.
Interesting.
Speaking of not doing something, we're going back to the point of Alonso needs to retire.
Yes.
He does not
I
need
feel
to
like
be
you guys
driving.
are bullying this man. I think he is enjoying what he's doing. Just let him
He's in
enjoy
his
it. Like,
50s. He should
Honestly-
be enjoying a house on a beach.
If Fernando was to retire, I could see him coming back as a team principal.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, he should be
Wait,
doing is
Like Stroll can leave, and then Fernando can buy Aston Martin.
See, this is the equivalent of a high school super senior, and I know
Ooh.
you all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but we are not
okay.
going to name drop.
we're not name dropping.
I don't think we're allowed to.
I don't think so.
Anyway, my point: Alonso is probably gonna be buried in his car
Probably.
when he dies.
That's beautiful for him.
Yeah.
So can like he become like an instructor? Like if this is really something he's passionate about and he doesn't want to give it up, can't he like be a coach or
Yeah,
something?
that's what I was saying.
That team
like,
would lose every single year.
Is he
Oh,
bad?
yeah.
I mean,
okay,
hey.
Okay. Do you guys just hate this man, or what? Did he suck whenever he was young? Or-
No, he
Okay,
was.
he was
He
good.
went through his prime. He had his prime. He was amazing. He was world champion multiple years,
He won 2 world championships.
and then he fell off
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he got old and he got put on a team that sucked,
He
and
got
nobody
put
gave
on
him a
a-
chance.
He got
That's
put
not
on a
his
daddy's
fault.
money team.
A daddy's money team, and daddy's money ain't got talent. They just got daddy's money.
And it's not helping. him.
Honestly,
Well,
Ugh.
honestly, if I was Lance Stroll, I would love my life.
That is the first time we have mentioned him in this episode, and that has to say something.
Yeah. Because,
Also, I'm sorry, rookies, but there's not much to talk about with
yeah.
y'all.
Like, Kimi Antonelli still did good.
Give me Antonelli. Sorry.
Being
So,
fourth,
speaking
really good.
of rookies, shall we move on to the Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda
Yes,
scandal?
please. Yes.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Sasha. Go ahead.
Okay, coming from a Yuki Tsunoda fan, I don't even know what to say anymore because Natalie, you were actually the first to mention this to me. It was in geometry. We were talking about something, and I literally said it would be so good if Yuki Tsunoda went to Red Bull because of how Liam Lawson is performing. By the way, P20 in every single race, other than China.
Yeah, 118 and then 220s.
Yeah, other than China. That is really bad. But on March 26th, 27th, there was starting to be headlines on the 26th, but it was officially announced by F1 on the 27th that Yuki would be going to Red Bull.
Woo!
He's coming to my team.
Man looks good in black.
And I actually for the sake of this podcast, I watched FP1 until 11:30 last night.
Oh, yes, girl.
So, yeah, but
Dedication.
he did really good.
Oh, thank the Lord.
He got up to P2, and then I think it was like Charles and Lewis came back out and they took his spots, but he got up to P2. He was doing good.
How did Liam do?
Liam was like in P17, I think.
Oh, so
But-
he's sticking down there at
But
the bottom.
other than the
Where-
Yuki Liam thing, in FP2, when I woke up and I checked the results, Isaac got P3.
Yes, Isaac.
So yeah, but
No, I destroyed Zika.
but my thing is, even coming from a Yuki Tsunoda fan, why did they do that to Liam?
'Cause he is not here to make friends. He's here to win.
Because I feel like, yeah, it was. I'm really excited for
That
Yuki,
is a
but
direct quote.
at the same time, Christian Horner himself said this, that Yuki has the rest of the season to prove himself, but Liam Lawson only had 2 races to prove himself. That doesn't make sense to me.
But he sucked.
But he
was
did.
cute, but he sucked.
And we're already seeing.
The hair was not giving. I'm sorry,
Guys, I know I'm the only one that thinks he's cute, but guys,
We're not hearing you out.
No,
I didn't ask you to hear me out because you've already heard me and you've already judged me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna judge the double Ferrari disqualification.
Oh,
That's good.
It was.
Are you
It was. It
Their
was
aura
really bad.
point went like to negative 100 million now because it gained all the way up throughout the off season.
Yeah.
Wait, real
Then the
or-
first race it went down a little.
Real or-
Then the last race, it went down.
no, they were aura farming the entire beginning of the
Yep.
season. Because Renaya just asked me if it was real aura points, and it's not. But
It was
that would
negative.
be funny. I think
That
we
would
should start
be really
calling their
funny.
points aura points.
Honestly,
Yep.
yeah.
I
They're
think that
aura
would be
points.
really great. If so, my man Lando has the most aura points.
Now let's actually bring up Lance Stroll for the first official time.
Yes,
of
he
the year.
scored more than both Ferraris.
In the first official race of the season, which was crazy.
Da-da-da.
Anyway.
That's crazy.
And then Williams.
Williams was also above Ferrari,
Oh, that was really funny.
which is really good because Carlos, you showed your light.
Carlos
buddy.
didn't do anything, honestly. It was Alex Albon.
Oh, I am also an Alex Albon fan. We also love him.
Because Carlos only has 1 point this season. Alex Albon, on the other hand, has 16, 17. So, hey,
Sorry.
Williams has improved from Logan Sargent, even though I'm a Logan Sargent.
I don't like Logan Sargent.
I'm not.
I
a
never
Logan
liked him.
Sergeant Stan.
He just
Hey,
looked like he
hey.
belonged in NASCAR.
Hey, he's my American guy.
You're American boy.
Yeah.
American boy. Okay.
No.
What about Kimi Antonelli, the only rookie to score points? Well,
And what
the
happened
rest
to all
of the rookies cannot
Crash.
stay on the track.
That was actually really... No, I was stressing
Good for
during
him.
that race.
I
Good
felt
for
really
him.
bad for them, but also I laughed on the inside really hard.
I also laughed very hard because they were talking up and like,
You know what I
oh,
laughed?
Fernando Alonso, he's also a rookie, so we're gonna be
You
him
know
and
what
all
I
this
laughed
stuff, and
at?
then they got crapped on.
You know what I laughed at?
What did you laugh at?
Liam Lawson crashing out.
I'm not here to make friends.
I'm here to win.
It's because of the water, guys.
He said-
Multiple
let's be honest.
crash out.
I agree with Haley.
He
It's
said
because of the water. It's
yeah,
the water.
it is the water. He said, and I quote,
Still water.
"I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win."
Where's the win?
Where's the win?
in
It's
the
gone,
room with
honestly.
us?
It
'Cause I
slipped
don't
off the
see
track
it.
when you left it. So
You've been here for what? You raced half of the seasons with VCARB. You raced 2 races with Red Bull.
You're
You're
a
about
floater,
to race
man.
your first ever race back at VCARB.
I mean,
Hold
that's a good remark to end on. So
Yep.
that wraps up
And with
our
that-
closing remarks. Anything else y'all want to say or ask?
any closing remarks about some people?
I have one more question.
Got it?
Well, they're kind of 2 in 1. So how do the races happen, and where do they take place, and then what does a typical F1 weekend look like? What's the lore?
The lore is hot. Celebrities who don't know what they're watching
That are just there.
that are just there because they can afford it because it is rich. And that is why I have entered 2 competitions to see if I can go to Miami for a weekend.
Oh, I wanted to enter that so bad.
Should have done it. We could have,
We could
Road
all
trip.
go.
We could
all
If we all want to,
road
no,
trip
but that would
together.
never happen.
I mean, if this podcast blows up enough, please help us, Grid Rivals.
Sponsor us.
Grid Rivals. We love you, Grid Rivals. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
you.
But
We're sorry this took so long.
hey, we're still in the talks with them, so
Yeah, we are. I think
I think with that we can probably wrap.
we're
this
not
thing up.
asking for money. We're asking for publicity.
Yes.
We just want to be known.
Okay.
Because if this blows up, we could go to Miami, guys. We could go to Las Vegas.
Okay.
oh,
We
and
could go to
Austin.
Suzuku. Favorite track, by the way.
You know what's my most hated track? Singapore.
Yes, it's so bad.
It's disgusting.
Like the shape, like the tracks, like the actual
The-
driving on it.
Yeah,
the roads.
some of
Yeah.
the turns are so hard on
Yeah,
different
like
tracks.
they're sharp turns.
Okay.
It makes me want to crash out. If I was a driver, I would
I
crash
think
out.
I'm gonna catch up and I'm gonna do some studying over the weeks.
Don't
All
forget
right,
to
all right.
watch this race this weekend.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
I'm gonna
interesting.
see.
It's actually
Don't
gonna
make
be
yourself
late.
stay up though if
Yeah.
it's late.
No,
though.
just
Yeah,
watch
not
it. Just
late.
record it and
I'll
watch
just
it the
watch
next
it
day.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just watch the highlights.
I'm gonna just
Yeah.
catch up and brush up on some stuff. for this.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, from the slick Australian race to the Chinese problematic Alonso accident this year and holds plenty of drama. And tons of hot takes waiting. Natalie, you got that.
So thank you for tuning in to our first episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
It's been recording.
I'm scared.
Why are
Shut
you
it.
scared?
I
Just,
know.
just record.
My
been
name
recording.
is Natalie, and you're watching Disney Channel.
I thought we were actually starting. It kind of scared me.